How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf Pei, I think, of Masechta BavaMetzia. Friends. The Agadata continues. We continue talking about I guess not really so much about Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, although we do talk about his son. We talk about Reb Chia, which is pretty awesome. So a lot of great stuff on this stuff as well. Let's jump in. We did kind of quite a bit on Pei Amud Aleph already, actually. So we are, I guess we're almost like halfway through the Amud. I guess I'm a little surprised. I didn't think we got that far, but all right. I guess we did. So we're like almost halfway through the Amud, I'd say. The first one in line is Mal Yomaya, then it says Ikla Rebbe La'asrei Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. So then Rebbe, so I guess Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon had already passed away, and then Rebbe went to his town. Omar, I guess Lehu, he said to the people, Yeshlo ben Le'osu Tzadik. Does Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon have a yingul? Does he have a son? Amru lo Yeshlo ben. They say, oh, you better bet your bottom dollar, or you better believe it, he's got a son. And that son is so beautiful that any harlot who herself is so beautiful that while the other harlots charge one coin, they charge 2 coins, and those harlots go after him for 8 coins. So you can imagine how beautiful this yingul is. Sorry, Mom. So Rebbe found Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon's yingul, and he gave him smicha, I guess. Ve'ashlamei Reb Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya achva de'imei, and he then delivered this yingul to Reb Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya, who was his uncle, for schooling, to teach him. And Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon's yingul every day would say, I want to go home. I don't want to be here. Sorry, Mom. Omerle Chokim Avdu Yosach, to which Reb Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya responded, and he says, why do you want to go home? They're going to make you into a big sage. They're going to put a golden garment on you. The Rebbe Karulach, and they're going to call you Rebbe. And you're saying, I want to go home. To which the yingul responds, Mume azuva da, forget it. I no longer want to go home. I'm going to stay here. Kigadal also Yosef Mesivta, and then when the yingul got older, he went to learn in yeshiva, the Rebbe, in Rebbe's yeshiva. Shomei lekale, and Rebbe heard the voice of the yingul, Omar, and he said, Ho kala domi lekale Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. This voice is like the voice of Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. Amule, they said to Rebbe, Brehu, it's Take his yingul. Kari ole, to which Rebbe applied the pasuk, Pri tzadik eitz chaim, that the fruits of the righteous is a tree of life, v'lokeach nefashos chacham, and he who gathers in souls is a chacham. Pri tzadik eitz chaim. When we say Pri tzadik eitz chaim, ze Reb Yossi, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, is this yingul, Reb Yossi, the son of Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon. V'lokeach nefashos chacham, and the one who gathers, who takes souls, is a chacham, ze Reb Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya. That is a reference to Reb Shimon ben Isi ben Lekunya, who taught this yingul the Holy Torah. Kinoch nafshe, when this Reb Yossi, Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon died, amtu lemarto davus, they brought him to Har Meron to be buried with his father and his grandfather. Havahadjala achna lemarto, and there was once again a snake that was going in circles around the entrance to the cave. Amulei, achna psach picho v'yikonis ben etzalaviv. No, snake, open up your mouth, get your tail out of your mouth and let us in so we could bury a yingul next to his father. But this time the snake did not open for them. So the people just sort of by default assumed that Rabbi Elazar, Reb Shimon is greater than his son, and therefore his son is not on the level to be able to be buried there. Yotzes Abaskel v'Amra, Abaskel came out fin Shamayim and said, no, that's not the reason. It's not because Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon is greater than Rabbi Yossi Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon, and that's why he's not allowed in. Elo zahaya b'tzar mayre v'zelohoya b'tzar mayre. That Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon was in the cave with his father Reb Shimon when they were fleeing from the Romans. So because Rabbi Elazar Reb Shimon had that experience, that's why he's able to be buried in the Me'ara in Har Meron with his father. But his son never had that experience, and therefore he can't be buried in that cave in Har Meron. Now, what is that was that the cave that they hid in? I wonder. Ikla Rebbe la'asrid Reb Tarfon. Where am I? Yeah, so Rebbe then visited the town of Reb Tarfon. Where was Reb Tarfon? Was he in Lud? I'm not sure. Amr lehu, and Rebbe said to them, Yesh lo ben la'oso tzadik she'imekapeach es bonov. Does Reb Tarfon have any children? Does he have a son? Is there a son to Reb Tarfon she'imekapeach es bonov, that he would cut off his kids, like he would make swears on his children, and even if the swears came true and he was mekayim them, but still he kind of put his kids on the line. Amrlo, they said to him, Ben Einlo, no, he doesn't have a son, but Ben Bas Yeshlo, but he has a grandson, son of one of his daughters. And this Yingol Oichit was so gorgeous that any Zonish Nizkaris B'Shnayim Suchaitu B'Shmoine. Asyu L'Kame, so they brought this Yingol before Rebbe, Amrle, and Rebbe says to the Yingol, Yihajos Bach, if you do tshuva, I don't know what he needs to do tshuva for. Maybe, I don't know what he has to do tshuva, but yeah, what's he doing tshuva for? Maybe because he was with his own, I don't know. What's he doing tshuva for? Yohev Nalach, Bartoi, and if you do tshuva, so I'll give you my daughter's hand in marriage. Hodor Bey, so he did tshuva. But some say he got married and then immediately, and then they got divorced. Or some say he never even actually got married, that the people shouldn't say that he only did tshuva in order to marry Rebbe's daughter. He didn't want that, so he did tshuva, but he didn't follow through with the marriage proposal. How come Rebbe was so invested in making sure that Reb Elazar Reb Shimon's Yingol and that Reb Tarfon's Yingol? How come Rebbe was so invested in making sure that everybody was receiving the proper chinuch? So the Amar Rav Yehuda Amar Rav, it's because Rav Yehuda says the name of Rav Va'amrilo, Amar B'chia Bar Abba, Amar B'yechanan Va'amrilo, Amar B'shmuel Bar Nachmani, Amar B'yonason, Kol HaMelamed as Ben Chaver Teireh, somebody who teaches the son of his friend the Holy Torah, Zocha V'yoshev B'yeshiva Shel Maila, he merits to sit in the academy above. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Im Toshuv, if you bring them back to do tshuva, Vashivcha lefanei tamod, I will bring you back to me, and you will stand before me. V'cham lamed is ben Amoritz Teireh, and somebody who teaches the son of an Amoritz Teireh, Afil HaKadosh Baruch Hu goes exer mevatlo b'shvilo. Even if the Eibishter is gozer gezerah, he'll be mevatel it on his account, on account of this fellow who teaches the children of Amoratzim Teireh. Shenemar, the pasuk says, "Vim totzi yoker mizolel kifi siyeh." And if you are motzi yoker mizolel, if you teach Torah to the Yingol of an Amoritz, so kifi tiyeh will be like, I guess your mouth will be like my mouth, and I guess you'll be able to, get saved and pray when there's something bad happening, and the Eibishter will listen, I guess. Okay. Fine. Amr Parnich, Amr B'yechanan Kol Shu Talmid Chacham, Uvno Talmid Chacham, Uvem B'no Talmid Chacham. When you have 3 generations of Talmidei Chachamim, right? You have a fellow, his son, and his grandson. Shuv Ein Torah Posekes Mizaro. The Holy Torah will not stop from his offspring. They will all be Torah scholars, or I guess they'll all at least be learning le'olam forever. Shenemar, the Pasuk says, "Vanizos brisi v'goyme." This is my covenant. Lo yamushmi, lo yamushmi picha u'mipi zarcha u'mipi zera zarcha. Omer shemat ha'olam. It will not leave from your mouths, from your children's mouth, and from your grandchildren's mouth. Omer Hashem ya'atav ad olam. My Omer Hashem. What's this? So says God. Omer Kadosh Baruch Hu ani orv l'cha b'dover. Says the Eibishter that I'm a guarantor on this matter. B'dover zeh, on this matter. My me'atav ad elam. What does it mean forever? Omer Rabbi Yirmiyah says Rabbi Yirmiyah mikan va'elach Torah mechazeres al achsanya shelo. That from that point on, that once you have 3 generations of Torah scholars, well then for forever after that, the Torah will be trying to return home, it won't get too far away from this family. Sholach Rav Yosef, Rav Yosef Yosef Ibn Tainisa. Rav Yosef fasted 40 fasts. Vakaryu, and in heaven they said about they read about Rav Yosef. Lo yamush mipicha. The Torah will not leave your mouth. Yosef Ibn Tainisa Achrine. He fasted another 40 fasts. Vakaryu, and they read to him about him. Lo yamush mipicha mipizarcha. It won't leave your mouth or your children's mouth. Yosef Me'ah Tainisa Achrine, then he fasted another 100 fasts. Also Vakaryu, then they said, Lo yamush mipicha mipizarcha umipizera zarcha. It will not leave your mouth, your children's mouth, your grandchildren's mouth. Omar, Rav Yosef then said, Mikan ve'elach lo tzrichna. I don't need any more than that, because Torah mechazeres alachsan yishla. Because once you have 3 generations of Torah scholars, so then the Torah won't get too far. It will naturally try to return home to that family. Reb Zera kisolik le'aradi Yisrael. When Reb Zera moved from Bavel, he made aliyah from Bavel to Eretz Yisrael. Yosef Me'ah Tainisa, he fasted 100 fasts. The lishtikach gemara bavlo amine, that he should forget the Babylonian Talmud. He's no longer in Bavel, he's no longer in Golus, he's now in Eretz Yisrael. He wants to be able to learn. He wants to be able to learn like the Yidden in Eretz Yisrael. He wanted to forget anything that he had learned in Bavel, so that he can learn. It says that he won't be influenced by it. He'll be able to learn like they learn in Eretz Yisrael. Kihechi de lo nitrade, so that he should, it shouldn't influence him negatively. The Torah of Bavel. Yosef Me'ach Achran Yosef, he then fasted noch 100 fasts. Dilo lishkov Rabbi Elazar b'shnei, that Rabbi Elazar, I assume it's Rabbi Elazar ben Pedas, should not die in his lifetime, in Reb Zera's lifetime. That Reb Zera should die first. V'noflin ilave milei ditzibur, because if Rabbi Elazar would die first, and Reb Zera was still there, then they're going to come to him to take care of all the communal needs, and he didn't want to deal with that. V'yosef me'ach achrine, and he fasted noch 100 fasts. Delo nishlik bei nura de gehenim, that the fires of hell should not affect him. Kol tlos yomi, every 30 days. Chavit is famous. Let's go weiter for a second. Have a bodik nafshe, he would check himself. He would do a test every 30 days. Shagar tanura. Solik v'yosef begabi, he would light the oven, and he would go and sit in the oven. V'lo'ava sholta beinura, and the fires would not affect him. He would sit in fire and he wouldn't get burned. Yom achad, but one time, Yoavu be'rabonin einov v'icharchu shake. One time though, the rabbis gave him some kind of ayin hara somehow, and his thighs got singed. V'karu le'koin chorich shake, and they called him the short fellow with singed thighs. I remember when we were learning Masechta Brachis, so that's why I said it's famous. It's from Masechta Brachis. They call him Katina Charich Shake, and I remember where I was when we learned that daf. I was in an Airbnb in Yerushalayim, and I remember that daf got like a lot of like more people viewed it than viewed other dafs, and I was like, well, what was it about that daf? Somebody posted about it on Twitter. I think he liked I said at the time, I called him Zera shorty burnt thighs, because he was a short fellow with burnt thighs. So I think some of the people enjoyed that. But anyway, so this is why he had burnt thighs, because of this story point, that every 30 days he'd do a test. He would sit in fire and see if he wouldn't get burnt. One time he talked about got burnt, and from then on he had burnt thighs. Amar Yehuda Amar Rab. Says, if you didn't name Rav Malik said, what does the pasuk mean? Who is the fellow who is wise and will understand this? And the Eibishter speaks to him and he will say it. For what reason was the land deserted? Today I'm recording Daf Pehei on Yom HaAtzmaut, the day that we commemorate the Yidden coming back to Eretz Yisrael and their independence in Eretz Yisrael. And Amal Avda Haaretz, right? Of course, we were driven out of Eretz Yisrael for so long. Why? Davar Zeh, Amru Chachamim, this thing the sages said v'lo pershu, they did not explain it. Amunavim v'lo pershu, the prophet said they didn't explain it. There was no explanation. Ache persha HaKadosh Baruch Hu ba'atzmo. The Eibishter himself, however, tells us why the land was abandoned. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Vayomer Hashem, it says the Eibishter al Ozvam es terase shenasati lifneim, because they abandoned my Torah that I put before them. But Chevra, we at Babylon Talmud, we're not abandoning the Torah. We're learning the Torah. We're passionate about the Torah. Torah makes us excited. We love the Torah. It says a bit of Marav that they didn't make brachas, birkas HaTorah before they learned. And says Rashi, at the end of the Rashi, it says, since they wouldn't make birkas HaTorah, Gal Yodai Tayu, they showed, it wasn't a gift that was important to them that they cared about, that they have to make a bracha beforehand. So Chevre, God willing, all of us here at Babylon Talmud, with our passion and our dedication to learning the Eibishter's Torah, will show the Eibishter that we love the Torah, that we're passionate about the Torah, and that Eretz Yisrael should never be deserted ever again, and that we want to stay here, we want to live here, and we want to learn the Holy Torah here. Omer Rav Chama, says Rav Chama, Ma'adich Siv, what does the pasuk mean? Belev novon tanuach chochma, that in the heart of a person with understanding, wisdom will sort of rest silently. Uvekav ksilim tivada, and in the within the fools it will be known. What does that mean? Belev novon tanuach chochma, in the hearts of those with understanding, wisdom will sort of rest silent, peacefully. Zeh Talmud Chacham ben Talmud Chacham. This is a sage, the son of a sage. And among the fools it will be known. Zeh Talmud Chacham ben Amma Aretz. This is a sage, the son of a Amma Aretz. So be'etzem a Talmud Chacham ben Talmud Chacham is kind of quiet, whereas a Talmud Chacham, the son of a Amma Aretz, is more vocal about, I guess about his being a Talmud Chacham. Or me'ula anu da'amr inshe, says this is what the people say: astir bilegino kish kish karya. When you have one coin in a pitcher and you're moving it around, it makes lots and lots of noise, right? One coin is clinging and clanking. But when you have a pitcher filled with coins, it's quiet. It doesn't make any noise because there's nowhere for anywhere to go. It's quiet. So obviously the pitcher filled with noise is the pitcher filled with coins is obviously preferable, but it's also quiet. Whereas the pitcher that has one coin is very, very noisy and is making a whole big deal. What does the pasuk mean? Koton v'gadol shamhu, that the small people and the big people, the great people and the not great people are all there. I think in the grave. I think ve'eved chavshi me'adonov, and an eved is free from his adon. Do we not know that the great people and the not great people are all there in the grave? Somebody who makes himself small on divrei Torah in this world, becomes a great person in olam haba. And anybody who makes himself an eved on divrei Torah in this world, he is a free fellow in the world to come. Okay, now we start shifting into these Gemaras about Reb Chia, which is very, very gewaldig. Rish Lakish av metzayin ma'arta d'Rabbanan. So Rish Lakish would kind of mark the graves of the rabbis. I think the point being so that Right, that Rish Lakish would mark the graves of the rabbis so that Kohanim shouldn't walk by, or shouldn't walk over them and become tamei, and then that would be caused by these tzaddikim's graves. So so you kind of wanted to just demarcate them so that Kohanim should know not to walk there. When he came to the cave to where Reb Chia was buried, he couldn't find it. He couldn't find it. Where's Reb Chia buried? Anybody know where Reb Chia is buried? Is he buried like in the north? Cholash daiti, so Rish Lakish kind of felt bad. Amri Baina Shalaylam, says, Master of the world, Lo pilpalti teira kemese. What did I not mefalpel? How do you define mefalpel? I don't know. Was I not involved in Torah study as much as him? Why can't I find his grave? Well, what's going on here? So a heavenly voice responded and said to Rish Lakish, Torah kamosa pilpalta. Sure, you learned Torah like Reb Chia. Sure, Torah kimosa lo ribatzta. But Torah kamosa pilpalta, Torah kimosa lo ribatzta. But you didn't spread, you didn't disseminate the Holy Torah like Reb Chia did. BavaMetzia Reb Chanina Reb Chia, when Reb Chanina and Reb Chia were once engrossed in a debate about their learning, Omar le Reb Chanina, Reb Chia says, Reb Chanina to Reb Chia, Bahade didi commences, Reb Chia, are you really arguing against me? Chas v'sholim imishtakcha terem Yisrael. If God forbid the Holy Torah should be forgotten from the Yidden, ma'adarna lo mipilpuli, I would be able to bring it all back just from my sharpness, just from my learning skills. Amar le Reb Chia le Reb Chanina, says Reb Chia to Reb Chanina, it's very nice of you to wait until the Torah is forgotten to start doing things. Bahade didi commences, are you really arguing with me? The avdi le Torah de lo tishtakach misol. I'm actively preventing the Torah from being forgotten among the Yidden. Maya avid, no, what do I do? Azlina v'shadino kitana, I go and I plant flax seeds. Vigadilna, and I grow flax. Vigadilna nishbe, and then I make them into nets. V'tzayadna tevi, and I trap deer, and then I slaughter the deer. Umachilna b'sarai liyasme, and I feed the basar, I feed the meat to orphans. The arichna megilta, and then the hides I make into scrolls. V'chasavna chamisha chumshe, and I write 5 chumashim, the 5 books of Moses, on 5 different scrolls. V'salikna lemato, and I go to a city where there's nobody to teach the yingles. Umakrina chamisha yenuke b'chamisha chumshe, and I give 1 chumash to each of 5 children. And I teach them the 5 books of Moses, right? So meaning, I give a Chumash Bereshis to one of them, and I teach him Bereshis. I give Chumash Shmos to the other one, and I teach him Shmos. And then the other one I teach Vayikra, etc. Umasnina Shisa Yenuke Shisa Sidre, and I find another 6 yingles, and I teach each one of them a different order of Mishnayos. And then I instruct them, I want that by the time I come back, y'all should be teaching each other, where you should be reading together and learning together, Mishnah, reading from the Chumashim, learning Mishnayos, and that way I ensure that the Torah shouldn't be forgotten. Meaning, Be'etzim, he goes to town and he gets together the kids and he teaches each kid a different portion of the Torah, right? So in this case, he found 11 kids. 5 of them he taught Chumash, the other 6 he taught Mishnayos. Right? Each person came away with one thing, 1 book of Chumash, one Seder Mishnayos, and he says, now I'm going to go away. I want each of you to teach each other what you know. So that way, when I come back, everybody will know everything. And says Reb Chia, like this, I'm actively making sure that the Torah will not be forgotten from the Yidden. Hanud Amar Rebbe, this is what Rebbe says, how great are the actions of Reb Chia. Amar Rebbe Shmo Rebbe Yossi says, Rebbe Shmo Rebbe Yossi too. Rebbe, afilu mimar, even greater than you. Amar Le, and Rebbe says, yes, even greater than me. Afilu me Abba, says Rebbe Shmo Rebbe Yossi, even greater than my father, Rebbe Yossi. Amar Le chaz v'shalom, Says Rabbi, God forbid, lo teikazus b'Yisrael. There's nobody like Rabbi Yossi among the Yidden. Reb Zera says, Reb Zera, Emesh nirali Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, that yesterday, Rabbi Yossi, says Reb Zera, that yesterday Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina appeared to me. I guess Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina had already passed away, and he appeared to me. Amartila says to Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, Eitzel mi ata tekua, who are you next to in the world to come? Amli Eitzel Rabbi Yechanan, says Rabbi Yossi bar Chanina, that I am by Rabbi Yechanan. Rabbi Yechanan Eitzel mi, who's Rabbi Yechanan next to? Rabbi Yanai. Rabbi Yanai Eitzel mi, who's Rabbi Yanai next to? Rabbi Chanina. Rabbi Chanina Eitzel mi, who's Rabbi Chanina next to? Rabbi Chia is next to Rabbi Chia. Amartilo, says Reb Zera, so I say to Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina, Rabbi Yechanan Eitzel Rabbi Chia lo. What, Rabbi Yechanan can't be next to Rabbi Chia? So I don't really understand the answer that he gives him. But Amarli, and Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina answers, Ba'asid is cooking denura v'urin de esha, where there's like fire and sparks, ma'ayil by nafcha l'tamon, should a blacksmith go there? I don't know. Apparently Rabbi Yochanan's father was a blacksmith. The Gemara had said, I think in Kedushin, that Rabbi Yochanan was an orphan by the time he was born, right? So I think his father died when his mother conceived, and his mother died when he was born. Anyways, I don't know. Something about it, when there's too much fire, what is it, just a blacksmith going to go there? I don't know. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Rabbi Yosef Bechini was saying, like, it's not shaykh for Rabbi Yochanan to be by Rabbi Chia. I don't know. Rav Chaviva says, Rav Chaviva, Ishtoi li, Rav Chaviva bar Surmaki, the Rav Chaviva bar Surmaki said to me, Chazi le Aumer Rabbanon, that I see a certain rabbi, or I saw a certain rabbi, the Avashchiach Eliyahu Gabe, that Eliyahu Hanavi would come visit this rabbi. To the Tzaf Abu Shapir and Einai, that in the morning his eyes were gewaltig, Uleorta Damin ki demiklin benura, and at night it looked like his eyes were burnt in fire. Amrile, I said to him, my hi, what's going on? What happened? V'amarlin, he said to me, the Amrile Eliyahu, that I said to Elijah the prophet, Ach v'li Rabbanon, can you show me the rabbis in heaven? Kisalki l'mesiftu d'rakia, when I went up to the heavenly academy, Omarli, Elijah the prophet said to me, Mechulu motzis listakuli, you could look at whoever you want, listakulibu, levar megeharka d'Reb, but do not look at the throne of Reb Chia. That's the condition. So tistakel bey, do not look at him. My sima nayu, how will I know who Reb Chia is? Bechulu azle maloche, well, by all of the other thrones there are ministering angels. Kisalke v'nachte, when they go up and down, I guess from the academy. Levar megaharka d'Reb Chia, with the exception of the throne of Reb Chia, Deminavshe solik v'nochis, he doesn't have ministering angels helping him. He goes by himself. That's how you know who Reb Chia is, and don't look. Lo matzoi lo ukma nafshoy. But says this rabbi, I couldn't help myself. Estak liba, and I looked at Reb Chia. Asutre butite denura. Umachyu lahu gavra v'saminu le'enei. I don't know, like these like fires came out and burnt out my eyes, and that's what happened. And then the next day I went and I bowed down on his cave where he's buried. Amina masnaisa demar masnina v'itzoy. And I told Reb Chia there at his kever, I said, look, I learned your brises, I learned your toseftis, and then I was healed. Alright. Elijah the prophet would often would frequent the yeshiva of Rebbe. Yom Echad, one day, it was Rosh Chodesh, Nogale velo also, and it became very late, and Elijah the prophet had not come. Omele my taimo Nogale lemar, and I guess eventually Elijah the prophet came, and Rebbe says to Elijah the prophet, how come you're late? Omele, so Elijah the prophet says, Adu kimno la'Avram. Look, until I woke up Avraham Avinu. Umashina Yodeh, and I washed his hands. Umatzli, and he davens. Rosh Chodesh davening. Umagnina le, and I put him back to sleep. V'chein liYitzchak, v'chein liYaakov, and I do the same for Isaac and Jacob. And that's why I was late. V'lukminu ba'adei adari, why don't you wake them all up at the same time and let them daven at the same time? Savre, so Elijah the prophet answers, because the impression above is Takve barachme umaise limshiach belozmane, that if Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov would all daven together synchronously at the same time, then they would bring the Messiah before its proper time. So then Rebbe says to Elijah the prophet, is there anybody in this world who has that kind of a power? Elijah the prophet says, there's Rebbe and his children. Gaza Rebbe Tainisa. So Rebbe then declared a fast. And then he got Rebbe and his children to lead the prayers. Sure enough, Rebbe says Masha Baruch and the wind blows. He says that God brings the rain, it rained. And then when he gets up to Mechai Amesim to do Tchias Amesim, Ragash Alma, the whole world got, I guess shook or something. Amri Barakia, they said in the heavens, Man Goli Razi Ba'alma, who's leaking? Who's telling the secrets to the world? Who's spilling the beans? Amri. So they all said Eliyahu. They all said Elijah the prophet did it. Asu the Eliyahu. So they brought in Elijah the prophet. Machiu Shisin Pulse Denura, and they whipped him 60 fiery lashes. Also Idme Lehu Kedova Denura Albinayu Vitardinu. So then Eliyahu and Avi went back to their fasting and their davening, and he appeared like a fire, a bear of fire, and as you can imagine, he distracted the people and prevented them from bringing Tchias Amesim. Shmuel Yarchino, Asi, the Rebbe Abba, Shmuel Yarchino was Rebbe's doctor. Cholash Rebbe Be'ene, one time Rebbe had his eye was bothering him. Amalei Imli Loch Sama, so says the doctor, says Shmuel Yarchino, I'll fill your eye with some kind of medicine. Amalei Lo Yachilna, Rebbe says, no, I'm too weak, I can't do that. Ashtar Loch Mishtar, I'll create some kind of a salve for you. Amalei Lo Yachilna, he says, I can't do it. Have a Mosiv Le Beguvta Desamne Tuse Beisadyo. So then Shmuel Yarchino made some kind of some kind of something and put it on the Rebbe's pillow, and Rebbe then was healed. Also Rebbe very badly wanted to give Shmuel Yarchino a smicha, right? The smicha where you mamish dorach ador, one person from the next, back to Moshe Rabbeinu. Although I don't think that Rebbe had smicha, did he? Because I think smicha stopped with Yehuda ben Bava. That's actually interesting. So Shmuel Yarchino says, Rebbe, don't worry about it. I saw the book of Adam, of Adam Arishon, and it says in that book, Shmuel Yarchino Chokim Yiskrei v'Rebbe lo Yiskrei, that Shmuel Yarchino will be called a wise person, a sage, but not a rabbi. The Asu the Rebbe al Yado Tehei, and Rebbe's healing will be by way of him, by way of Shmuel Yarchino. And continues the book of Adam Arishon, of Adam Arishon. Rebbe v'Reb Nosson Sof Mishnah. Chaver, listen up, this is amazing. That Rebbe and Reb Nosson are the end of the Tanoim. So interesting, Rebbe of course wrote the Mishnayos, but he says Reb Nosson as well. Rebbe and Reb Nosson are the end of the Tanoim. Rav Ashi v'Ravina, so for Ra, Rav Ashi and Ravina are the end of the Amoraim. V'simonach, and a sign is Ad Avo El Mikdashi El, right? So like El Mikdashi is like Rav Ashi. Avina Lachrisam, and that is like Avina is like Ravina. So that's a pasuk from which you can remember that Ravina, Rav Ashi are the end of the Amoraim. That was the Pei of Masechta BavaMetzia. Another day of very, very engaging, interesting content in Agadata here. We still have another day and a half of Agadata. I hope everybody's been enjoying for this greatly earned sort of easier kind of dafs, very interesting dafs. Peace out.